What's up YouTube, Jason here with Bite My Bits, and this is episode number 5 of Jason Bytes Back, a series of which I answer previous questions from the last month and try to have a little bit of a discussion with the community. In today's video, I'm going to start off with questions from the last video first, and then I'll dive a little bit deeper into the channel and answer some other community questions on other videos. So to get things started off, I have a question from Randy Scribner. He asked, have you ever messed with Myth TV? Well, Randy, I have actually never even wanted to mess with Myth TV. As far as I know, Myth TV is just a DVR system, something that you can record live TV with. And before I dove into the Plex DVR system that they had, where they had live TV and the DVR recording, I never even, had anything like that set up. And now that Plex has that DVR and Plex has that live TV thing set up, I don't see me ever needing to dive into something like Myth TV. Second question from David Beeler. Do you use the Amazon Echo with Plex? David, here's the thing with the Amazon Echo, and I've already made some, adjustments to the whole Xbox Live always listening to me, but the Amazon Echo, I just don't like the idea of it always listening to everything you say. Furthermore, it can be activated, it seems like, from anybody. I'll give you a primary example. South Park just had a episode where they kept activating, the Amazon Echo and adding things like, fuzzy nutsacks to people's shopping list. Or there's videos online showing parrots ordering things like birds ordering things from Amazon. So you combine that with it always listening, anyone can order. It's just, I'm not saying I'm a conspiracy theorist here, or I think the NSA has any interest in what I'm doing inside my home. It's just a comfort thing for me. I just don't feel like doing that. Another example, hey Alexa, add fuzzy nutsacks to my shopping cart. Yeah, see, the South Park can do it, I can get away with it. Okay. Next question from Mr. Pepsi Max. Do you plan on making a video where you talk about the software, Dockers, on your Unraid server, how you set it up, and what you have and why? Well, Pepsi Max, I have, kind of. In my previous setup videos, which I will try to link in the cards above, I did kind of dive into some of the Docker applications that I've installed, what I use them for. But honestly, in the end, I don't run a very wide array of different Docker applications, so it's not really, I don't want to say it's dedicated video worthy. What I would recommend if you are interested in the things that I've installed, just check out those videos, look through. I think mainly I've installed a test version, of some security software for security cameras, which I have not yet dove into, so I plan on getting into that. I did have CrashPlan, but since CrashPlan kind of went corporate craziness and they shut down all the free users, I've since disabled that. I did use Cups, it's like a print server, some other things, but I would just watch that video to kind of give an idea. And maybe in the future, if I start installing some Docker applications that are completely useful and for whatever reason, might make a dedicated video to that. Next one is from John Smith, more of a comment on what my server build. He says, I'm all for crazy builds. I have ridiculous things in my lab I don't need, but realistically, why'd you need 18 cores, CPU, storage at home? Might as well throw your money out the window instead. You don't seem to use it for anything other than storage. So beyond, oh my God, look at high core count. I just don't see the point. Okay, now, John Smith, the most generic name ever, I just want to say you did not get the point of that video. Really what it boils down to is you build these types of servers or whatever, it's your hobby, you're passionate about it. Ask a car guy. It's like, why do you need a car that can go, 12 or 11 seconds down the quarter mile or 10 or 9 or whatever? It's one of those things is that if you're passionate about something, you want to build something that's, more powerful or offers you more features than you need. And if you build that, you're going to have fun not only building it, but then using it, and it gives you the room to expand in the future. So although I don't really use my server to its fullest potential now, who knows what I'm going to get into in the future. And if you're someone who just doesn't understand why anybody would want to do that beyond the point of saying, OMG, look at my cores, then it's just probably not your passion. I'm sure you have something in your life where that is your passion and you buy more than you need. Next one from Tanner Copland. What file type, MKV, MP4, or AVI, and why? Tanner, this is kind of a complicated question, but not really. I can say, first of all, AVI is outdated. Don't use it. It's not worth it. I think you can get higher resolution, but usually it's like HD. Either way, AVI is just too big. The file sizes are too big. The compression is terrible. So AVI, As far as MKV and MP4, I actually have a mixture of those on my server. Most of the time I make things into MKV just because more devices are supporting them natively now, so they can direct play. And what it really boils down to is your clients. What clients do you use the most and what can they support natively? So you find the file that your client can support natively that allows your internal viewing of your media to be less strenuous on your server. So for example, if you have something like a Roku, and if that can support MKVs natively, then you have that higher chance of being able to direct stream everything when you're watching media inside your home, and your server's not going to have to transcode things. So to answer your question, MKVs are usually a safe bet, especially at this time of age. But I would just look at your clients and see what they support natively and try to find what fits your use case scenario the best. Next question is from Rob Fern. What software are you using for your videos? This is shown at 3:15. This is actually on my LG unboxing for that new monitor that I got. This is a very generic question, but I figured I'd answer it anyways. I just use Adobe Premiere Pro. The reason is it's cheap. You can just pay a small monthly fee for it. And it's easy to use. It's common software. If you ever have to do something, figure something out, there's plenty of videos and tutorials online to do it. I'm not an expert at Premiere Pro, but I've gotten pretty proficient with it. But at the end of the day, it's common and you can find so much, information online to be able to use it better for whatever reason if you don't know how to do something in it. So next question is from RMD80 Gaming. Hey Jason, how do you convert your DVD/Blu-rays into a good quality file for Plex? Keep up the good work. I'll try. Okay, this varies a little bit, but usually it's a combination of a couple different programs. It's like Handbrake and a software called Make MKV. But if I remember right, MKV pretty much handles everything. It just rips it, it takes the title that you want, puts it into a single file. But if you wanted to change the quality, I think you can still do that with MKV. So usually MKV is kind of a one-stop shop for all of that. But I do know there are plenty of programs out there that allows you to, rip, convert, and put them in different containers, all that stuff, but that's just kind of what I use. Okay, next question. Okay, so this is less of a question and more of a comment that I've gotten a couple times. And, I mean, literally like maybe 2 or 3 times. From William, who says, you seem like a nice guy, you have some good information, it's hard to take you seriously when you act like a clown. If I want entertainment, I will get that. Here, I just want information, and then subscribe if you have something I want more than once. And William, and to those others out there who actually have made the same comment of, stop being funny, just give me the information or whatever. Honestly, you can leave. I've been working on this channel for years now. It's been, I think, 3 years. And I've been slowly coming out of my shell and getting more and more comfortable in front of the camera. In fact, in today's video, this is the first time doing it. I'm doing live streaming, and I haven't been comfortable enough to live stream like ever. So it really boils down to this. I'm coming out of my shell. I'm a goofy person, kind of weird. You can either love that or you can hate that. Either way, it doesn't matter to me because I make a channel that is my mentality. It's my personality. This is the way I like to make videos, record videos. If you don't like it, bye, Felicia. And also, just giving information in a video is boring. That's not how you gain subscribers. Yeah, you might be able to get entertainment from multiple other sources out there. That's fine. But do you want to watch a boring video all the time from somebody? No, that's how you lose subscribers. So I'm trying to step it up. I don't want to be too stupid when it comes to comedy or anything, but I'm just going to be more of me and less of a robot. From Finn Anderson, one of my latest $10 Patreon subscribers. Thank you again, appreciate you. How big does your Plex folder get? Mine is easily 150 gigabytes, I think. I assume it's because of the timeline, thumbnails, etc. Also, dual Xeon being bottlenecks for the speed they run at? Question mark? Well, Finn, I took a look at that and it's literally about 122, I think 125 gigabytes. Hey guys, editing Jason here. It's not 120 whatever gigabytes, it's actually 225. But I'm an idiot and I said the wrong thing, so minor correction. And yes, you're absolutely right. That is all about the timeline scrubbing thumbnails that it generates in the server. And this is something that you can disable. So if you have limited space, for your Plex data directory, especially for those who might install this on their main PC, like let's say it's running on your main, computer that you use for everything else, and you don't have like a 500 gigabyte SSD to not only run your operating system, but also have that Plex data folder, you can disable this to make this smaller. So that's something I would recommend if you're having issues with it. Personally, I bought an SSD, it's 500 gigs, so it's able to handle that and then some, but either way. And then as far as your dual Xeon bottleneck question, that's really what it boils down to, is that yeah, I do have dual Xeons. I have a lot of CPU cores, but they are only running at 2 gigahertz. And with Plex multi-threading, it is able to utilize those cores or those extra cores, but I am still bottlenecked by the overall speed of the single core. So it's just one of those things. My next server, I do plan on hopefully getting something that has possibly less cores, but more speed per core. Maybe, I don't know. It's probably a year or two down the line, but something I'm gonna look at. Next question, me Mad Max. He said, probably shouldn't let those SSDs flop around like that, as the SSD case itself is indeed made out of metal and could short something out. I lost a motherboard yesterday doing the same exact thing you're doing. Mad Max, I 100% agree. In fact, that is the most cringy thing that I notice every time I look inside my server. It's embarrassing, and I recognize that, but it is what it is. Here's why. Okay, I could have like put them in a certain area, you know, and attach them to a piece of metal or whatever. But the SanDisk SSDs that I had before were running like super hot. I mean, we're talking like 65, 70 C and barely being used. So what I had to do is basically prop them in there in kind of a ghetto fashion in order to get the most airflow out of the fans to try to keep them as cool as possible. From what I can tell, those SanDisk that I were using before just run hot. Now I have Samsung SSDs in there and they run considerably cooler than what the SanDisk did. So I've been actually monitoring this and thinking that I'm going to tie them down and make them a little bit better. But honestly, it really comes down to it works. It's not shorting anything out. I don't move the server, so I don't have any reason. And I think ultimately keeping those SSDs running cooler and not tying them down and having it to where their temperatures are going to go higher could potentially allow them to last longer. So I think I'm just going to keep it as it is for right now. However, if I do have to get into the server later on and I have to get in and kind of change things around, I might look at a different solution. But I agree, you're right. It's a terrible setup, and do as I say, not as I do, which is don't do that. Next question is from Plex and Brown. I like your name, sir, or ma'am, whatever. Curious, did you notice videos stuttering before the SSD failed, whether it was 480 or 1080? Well, Mr. Plex and Brown, no, but yes. Basically what happened up until I had to kind of patch it up to get it working again is that it wasn't stuttering per se. Instead, I was giving launch errors. Like when I tried to play a video, it would pop up and say, you know, Plex could not find the codec to play this video. And what that really boiled down to is that Plex could not initiate writing to that SSD. So the SSD was having issues creating that temporary folder for the transcode data. So Plex just was unable to do all that and thus unable to play the video. So when all that started happening, I did a little bit of research, found that it was a potential SSD failure, switched everything over to the other SSD, which was also my cache drive, and everything got it back up and working. And that is where essentially I had to go online and buy another SSD, which I just said, screw it. And I bought 2 SSDs because pretty much the SanDisk SSD that I had failed and I didn't want to have to deal with that on my cache drive. So that's where that video came from. Was that all I had? Well, that's all I have. That was all 11 of them. Do I have any good questions from the community? What CPU do you recommend for a Plex server NAS? From the live chat, it says, what CPU do you recommend for a Plex server or NAS? Honestly, I want to recommend a Ryzen CPU, but I haven't tested it. They have been proven in the reviews to have some fantastic workload features or workload performance. So I feel like it would be a great server. I don't know for sure, but I should try that. I should just buy a Plex or a Ryzen CPU. Okay, Teddy Funk, what's your take on running a Plex server on a Raspberry Pi and using an external USB drive? That's a good question. And if you want to do that, it would almost be like a Kodi setup. That's where basically you're not doing a transcoding, you're just doing direct play. And from what I've seen online, it's able to handle direct play pretty well. But if you ever need that server to do any kind of transcoding, you're not going to get anything from it. So the Raspberry Pi is good as far as being able to, you know, get that going and running for you, but it's not really going to be able to do much transcoding if at all. In fact, I don't even know if it supports transcoding. So it's a good option for direct play. That'd be more like a basic, you know, media server if you have like one client in mind in your house. So do you still have your server sitting on L brackets in your rack? Yes, Gumbo Tech, I do. No, I've not made the investment to buy proper racking stuff. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, man. As far as doing something with Linus is on a whole nother level for me. I would have to have 1 million subscribers before Linus even recognized who I was, let alone have a collab with him. I really doubt that'll ever happen. Okay, Eric Chubb, how many subs do you think it would take to do YouTube full time? This is probably a question I had when I was starting YouTube. Now I think I have a better idea, but it's not a guarantee. I think it really boils down to about 150. If I remember right, Paul's Hardware started going full time with YouTube at around 178, 179. Could be wrong, but I think that's 179,000 subs. It kind of varies. You know, sometimes like somebody like Paul, he had connections with Newegg and some major vendors that allowed him some, you know, extra sponsorships and seed money into that. So maybe it's a little skewed just because he had those connections. I can tell you this, that the level I am with, I think almost 40,000 subscribers, I am far away from doing YouTube full time, far away. But maybe at 140,000 subscribers, I'll be a lot closer. Who knows? So anyways, I'm gonna wrap this video up. I do wanna say that I have something exciting to announce. And I am like ecstatic from it. More ecstatic than I was with that monitor that I unboxed, which by the way, I'm still working on that review. I've ordered a color calibrator to do some further test on it. So I want it, but anyways, something exciting to release. I'm hoping Thursday or Friday I can make that video and talk about it. If you follow me on Twitter, you probably already have a pretty good idea of what it is. I think it's gonna take my channel, you know, potentially to another level as soon as I learn to use it better. But yeah, it's a significant investment for me, and I am excited to put it to use. So stay tuned for that. Before I finish this up, I do want to, you know, do a huge shout out to my Patreon subscribers. Thank you, every single one of you. You guys are what has made this, you know, especially this newest investment happen. I know you guys have seen some, you know, sponsorships on this channel, you know, from Plex. I've done some .tech sponsorships. I got some, you know, future sponsorships coming up that I'm excited to do too, that I'm actually really excited just to make the video, let alone get paid for it. All of that has come to, you know, a final moment for me, and that's going to be released on Thursday or Friday, where I'm hopefully going to reveal what I purchased and try to contain my excitement as much as possible. And it's all because of you. So thank you everybody for subscribing and watching and just being a part of the community and having the same passions that I do and being able to just interact with, you know, my videos like you do. But anyways, thank you for watching this video. Like and subscribe below. If you love this video, definitely subscribe. Appreciate every single one of you, and have a good night.